What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on first take, they're going to be talking about what should New Orleans Pelicans do about Zion Williamson's knee injury. So let's see what they have to say about that.
What does Zion's injury mean for the Pelicans?
I think it means they should be very, very concerned. He is the franchise. Anthony Davis is no longer there, and even if Anthony Davis was there, as great as he is, because Zion ain't on that level, he's not the phenomenon this kid is. This kid is something special. In terms of the attention that he brings and what box office appeal, et cetera, the athleticism, the girth, the 6'6", 280 pounds. But this has been my primary concern about him. He knows he doesn't know how to go any less than 100 miles an hour. He goes after it. He's constantly aggressive and ferocious in attack mode. And to me, the one thing that could potentially derail him are those legs. And
so that means it's load management time and time to lose about 25 to 30 pounds. So let's continue.
So when you look at it from that perspective, understand as somebody that's had problems with my knees all my adult life, okay, let's understand something here. When your knee is messed up in any way, it affects the ability to run, it affects the ability to jump, it affects lateral movement, okay? So you're talking about an entire arsenal of Zion Williamson being severely compromised due to health reasons if they don't get that together. They need to be ultra concerned and ultra protective of him in that regard and to make sure that they take care of his legs just as much as they take care of his game. It means
So I think Zion Williamson definitely needs to get on load management, and he needs to lose about 20, 25 to 30 pounds and have him be on load management until he loses that weight, because he hadn't even played in one game and he's already having troubles with his knee. So I would say, you know what, don't even take a chance. Have him lose weight, have him be on load management, and, you know, just deal with it that way. Also, I hope it doesn't turn into one of these things where a type of situation with Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors last year, where he came back when he wasn't probably supposed to be coming back or didn't need to come back. So I hope that Zion Williamson does not come back until he's 100% absolutely positive that he feels like he is ready to come back, and he's not being pressured by anybody by the New Orleans Pelicans organization, because he was their #1 pick. He's a high box office draw or whatever type of situation that comes with being Zion Williamson. I hope he comes back when he feels like he himself is 100% sure that he's ready to come back and play, instead of being pressured to come back and play and get hurt even more and turn into a Kevin Durant type situation. So let's continue.
Pelicans are going to miss the playoffs, and I wasn't sure that they would make it anyway. You didn't mention why he missed those 6 games with the right knee. It's because his sneaker exploded.
Yeah.
Because like on Earth here, the materials we use and the process we use to put equipment together is not meant to withstand cosmic forces of pressure that Zion Williamson can put on a sneaker. You know who he reminds me of? And I'm just making an analogy here in terms of this thought of certain kinds of players. Obviously, they're not the same type of player, but Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was, like, when you watch him, you wondered, like, can he stay healthy? Because his fast twitchies were so fast that you're like, does the human frame, can the skeleton, like, contain that energy of stopping and starting? And Zion Williamson's like that, but he's 280. So in the long run, this could be good news for the Pelicans because of load management, which is what I anticipate and why I think they'll miss the playoffs. They're going to have to be careful. We saw with Kawhi Leonard coming off an injury. Load management worked. They won the title. He won Finals MVP. It's good that Zion Williamson's playing in this era instead of the previous one, where they may have played him too many minutes too often, not taking that into consideration. But I do think it means they miss the playoffs because it's not a perfectly constructed roster. I don't think they have enough shooting anyway. They would need him to be Superman to get them there, particularly if you see that Porzingis looks healthy. Because if he stays healthy for the Mavs, him and Doncic, that's a problem. I think they missed the playoffs because of this.
I think they missed the playoffs.
So I think Max Kellerman is correct about how Zion busted through his shoe and that hurt his knee for 6 games. But it's not just the shoe. That could easily happen when he's running up or down the court or jump up and down and his foot slips because there's liquid on the floor, there's sweat on the floor, and his foot slips and his knee gives out, or whatever type of situation could be. So as far as that, I think the best thing the Pelicans, I think they need to do right now is get him on load management and have him try to lose some weight, actually a lot of weight, because you don't want to take a chance with him. You know he's an absolute beast at, what, 6'6", 280? You know he could do it, but why take a chance? Have him get down to about 260, maybe 255, and have him be able to play and still be a monster, possibly with a little bit less weight, but at least he'll be able to play versus have to worry about his knee and injuries and all that, having him be at 280, 285. So I would say get him on load management until he can lose some weight, have him definitely lose some weight, and save him from himself because you know Zion's going to want to play. You know he's going to want to play. And make sure, if Zion can hear this, make sure you don't come back until you are ready to come back. Don't let anybody pressure you. Don't let the Pelicans pressure you. To tell you the truth, I wish Kevin Durant would call up Zion Williamson and tell him his story about what happened last year. Like, look, don't come back unless you feel you are ready to come back and play. Because if you come back and play and you're still kind of hurt, you won't be going 100%, and that's how you can get hurt another way. So, I don't know. Let's continue.
That's because they're in the Western Conference even before all of this. Because the bottom line is, let's call it what it is. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Derek Favors. I mean, Drew Holiday is the one guy that you can you can hang your hat on because you know what he brings to the table. And I'm not trying to cast aspersions on Derek Favors. I know he's got some skills. He did some good things in Utah. But the bottom line is, when you look at this roster,
we're going to shoot
it ain't exactly, and it ain't that ultra impressive. If they were in the Eastern Conference, then yeah. But I didn't see them going to the playoffs really in the West anyway.
And when you look at the way the roster's constructed, J.J. Redick, right, like, Lonzo you should have on the floor with Zion. That's a good combination. But Drew Holiday can shoot and under pressure can shoot, but you don't really think
Drew
of him
Holiday
as
can play, period.
But you don't think of him as a killer, just dead-eye shooter. And that's the best guy they have who can play both ways.
But he makes up for it because he defends.
No doubt, but what I'm saying is Lonzo, Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, that's not enough shooting to put around Zion to begin with. And if you take one of those guys out and put Redick in...
They did acquire Redick.
But now you've lost on the defensive end. It's not. It was a roster that needed Zion to play out of his mind to make the playoffs in the West, and this means they're going to have to be careful.
Stephen A., you guys...
Yeah, I think they're both right about that. That is going to be a lot of pressure on Zion, or would have been a lot of pressure on Zion without the injuries. But now that he's hurt, it doesn't really look too good for the Pelicans right now, especially, like I said, being in the Western Conference. And again, I can't reiterate that, Zion Williamson don't come back unless you feel like you are 100% as close as you can get to being what you were before. Don't let anybody pressure you to coming back and play because you were the number one pick, because everybody's depending on you, because the team's depending on you, because you're the draw attraction for New Orleans. Come back when you feel like you are ready and you feel like you won't get hurt again. Don't let anybody pressure you. Like I said, I cannot reiterate how much the situation with Kevin Durant turned super bad because he came back when he probably shouldn't have come back. I know he's trying to be a team player and be strong and all that, but at some point, it's about self-preservation because nobody's going to care about you in 20 years when you've only signed one contract because you got hurt, or you blew out your knee because you're coming back to help a team when you could have sat out and still had a 15, 20-year career. But like I said, you need to put Zion Williamson on load management. You need to have him lose some weight. I'd rather have a Zion at 255 and be able to play and not necessarily have to worry about injuries than have Zion be playing at 280, 285 and always be worried about his knee and keeping him load management and not letting him go full speed. So, I don't know. Let's continue.
Mentioning load management, is it ridiculous to load manage a rookie, or is that something that the Pelicans should seriously consider with Zion?
They might have to seriously consider it because if you came into the NBA with a knee issue, all right, and it showed up again in preseason, and then now it showed up. I'm talking about even before. I'm not even talking about preseason. I'm talking about the summer league. And then after that, preseason starts, and now it has shown up again before one single game has counted. There are 3 knee issues in the last 8 months that we can point to involving this kid. And he is the face of your franchise. So, again, you have to guard it. It's not about limiting minutes. It's not about limiting games. It's about monitoring him to the point where any kind of issue that comes up with his legs, you prioritize that.
Again, I'm going to say it again. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing it. Zion, if you hear this, do not let anybody pressure you into playing unless you feel like you're 100% ready. Like I said, I wish Kevin Durant would call Zion and tell him, like, look, it's not worth it. Don't come back until you feel like you're ready because you don't want to have another injury. I wish Kawhi Leonard would talk to Zion Williamson and tell him, like, look, do not come back unless you feel like you're ready because the media jackals and the New Orleans Pelicans millionaires or billionaires or whatever, they're part of the association, they will pressure Zion to come back when he's not ready because they want to sell those seats. They want to sell tickets. They want to use Zion Williamson for everything that he's worth. And then guarantee you, if he can't play again, you see how quick they throw him away. You see how quick they throw him away. That's what I'm saying. Zion Williamson, don't come back unless you are 100% ready. You feel like you're ready. Don't let anybody pressure you. You have too much potential. It's not worth playing right now. Even if you have to sit out the whole year, it's not worth it. Don't come back until you're ready. So let's continue.
Baseball. If you had a rookie phenom pitcher back in the day, they let him throw 130 pitches in a start. If he had a shutout going, they let him pitch 250 innings, and then his arm would fall off. Dwight Gooden, when he was 20 years old, was one of the best pitchers who ever lived, and by the time he was 25, effectively, he was never elite again. Zion Williamson, nowadays, when a young pitcher comes up, Felix Hernandez or Clayton Kershaw, they're like, oh, let's be careful. Let's limit the innings, limit the pitches, etc. And old-timers complain, but, well, you could argue whether it works or not. The point is that's the era we're now in basketball. You got a guy like Zion Williamson, you're not going to do stupid stuff like play him 40 minutes a game for 82 games. You got to be careful. And what this will do will make sure that even when there's something to play for and there's something on the line, the Pelicans franchise should keep the long term in mind.